Marvel's Avengers, Starfield, Anthem, Duke Nukem Forever, Redfall, Fallout 76, and Crackdown 3. All of these games have at least one thing in common. They are all considered to be some of the biggest flops of all time. Whether it was due to having repetitive gameplay, poorly designed mechanics, or simply failing to reach the expectations set by their fan bases, these games are up there with a plethora of others. But which one truly failed the most? Well, actually, it's none of them, because recently a game came out and flopped so tremendously hard that it has been recalled, taken off of digital stores, and has had its servers shut down in less than 2 weeks after its release. And of course, if you haven't guessed it yet, I'm talking about Concord. And for any of you who are somehow unfamiliar with this sad tale, then I'll just give you a brief rundown. Concord was a first-person hero shooter game developed by Firewalk Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. The game was released for PlayStation 5 and Windows on August 23rd, 2024. It very much aimed to be a competitor to similar games like Overwatch and Valorant. The game featured a variety of characters that just fell very flat. A lot of people criticised them for essentially copying other IPs, saying that the game just had a Guardians of the Galaxy style look and feel to it. The initial preview revealed 5 characters and the game later released with 16. The game was expected to have 3 post-launch updates that would have added more characters and maps, and the game would have featured new cutscenes about the characters and the ongoing story every week. But unfortunately, these plans did not work out. Depending on who you ask, Concord was either a decent alternative hero shooter to Overwatch, or a game completely out of its time, trying to chase a trend from almost a decade ago. For some, it was both. Review scores range greatly on Metacritic, but there are a lot of middling scores that highlight the game's lack of original ideas and underdeveloped characters. Many felt that the game was just too familiar, resembling the well-worn style of games like Overwatch and Valorant, while trying to create its own identity. IGN gave this a 7 out of 10, which honestly isn't the least bit surprising. IGN would give a literal steaming hot shit a 7 out of 10, as long as it had the basic functions of a video game, so I'd probably steer clear of their advice on this one, much like any other game. However, most critics for some reason didn't think that this was an absolute failure, just a misguided game that should have been free to play instead of having a $40 price tag slapped onto it. With big ambitions, many saw a bright future for this game. At least that was until the player numbers came in. As reported by SteamDB, Concord's all-time peak player count on PC was a depressing 697 players. Before that, during the game's open beta, where literally anyone with a PC and internet connection could join in for absolutely free, it only managed to achieve a peak player count of 2,388 players. That is well below the player counts of other games that were even considered a failure or a flop by their publishers. But I have to say that the saddest thing that I've heard throughout this whole time about Concord is that the game reportedly only sold 25,000 copies across PS5 and PC. And if that hasn't made your jaw almost slap the floor in disbelief, by comparison, Overwatch sold over 50 million copies prior to even going free to play for its sequel. So what the fuck went wrong? Trying to answer what really went wrong with Concord is a bit of a tricky one, because there isn't just one thing that you can point to. The combination of all the small things the game, Firewalk and Sony all got wrong led to the game getting pulled from sale, and Firewalk Studios and Sony just saying, fuck this, we can't take it no more. However, I believe it can all be traced back to the game's 8-year development cycle. The entire business model that this game is based on is on Overwatch's initial success, which launched as a $60 game in 2016. That is nearly 10 years ago. And just getting that model to succeed in 2024 is not only a risky one, but it's a completely stupid one. By being stuck in production for so long, Concord has just been trying to chase this trend that has since flown by and left the game eating shit in its trail. One completely baffling aspect of Concord's final product was just the underdeveloped nature of the game's characters and the pages and pages of lore and universe building, all buried in the Galactic Guide, and none of which is anywhere to be found within the actual gameplay itself. Why was so much money spent on weekly cutscenes that just resembles being drip-fed a quip-fest hour-long Marvel TV show for an entire year? That money could well have been spent elsewhere on crafting a compelling 6 to 10 hour story, just achieving the same level of universe building, if not more. But no, one of the oldest sayings when it comes to visual storytelling is show, don't tell, and Concord does way too much of the latter. The game buried character details and interesting environments in thousands of words of lore that barely anyone will ever bother to read. It failed to bring any new life into the style of game that it was trying to emulate, and it failed to capture any kind of excitement from the audience that it was trying to reach. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars pumped into this game for it all to go down the shitter and in gaming history as one of, if not, the greatest flop in gaming history. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that for a bit. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a like, comment, jump up on that top rope, and frog splash that fucking subscribe button. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one.